In a recent phone interview with NBC News, President Donald Trump made headlines by expressing a lack of concern for potential price increases from foreign automakers due to his administration's new tariffs. The president stated, "I couldn't care less about foreign car prices," emphasizing his belief that consumers would shift towards American-made vehicles in response to any hikes in costs imposed by foreign manufacturers. This declaration comes on the heels of Trump's announcement that he plans to impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles. During the interview, which lasted over 10 minutes, Trump also addressed his controversial comments regarding the annexation of Greenland, confirming he has had absolutely real discussions about acquiring the territory from Denmark. His remarks about Greenland were underscored by a broader theme of his administration's aggressive trade policies, which he argues are aimed at rectifying decades of unfair trade practices directed at the United States. "The world has been ripping off the United States for the last 40 years, Trump asserted, defending the permanence of the upcoming tariffs and dismissing concerns over their impact on consumer confidence and Wall Street volatility. While Trump's tariffs on foreign automobiles are set to take effect on April 2, he indicated that the repercussions of these tariffs would extend beyond just car prices. Foreign auto parts will also be subjected to the same level of taxation, which has raised alarms among industry leaders. Trump's comments have drawn sharp criticism from international allies, including Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney and Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, who have labeled the tariffs as unjustified. The president's approach has instigated a significant stir in global markets, prompting a notable drop in stock prices as investors react to the impending trade restrictions. The threat of tariffs has particularly impacted Asian markets, where many countries rely heavily on export manufacturing. This economic backdrop has led to fears of a broader impact on the global economy, with analysts warning of potential long-term consequences. In addition to his remarks on tariffs, Trump addressed the ongoing controversy surrounding a Signal app group chat involving senior administration officials. He expressed confidence in National Security Advisor Michael Waltz and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, both of whom were part of the chat in which sensitive military plans were reportedly discussed. Trump downplayed the incident, labeling it as a witch hunt and asserting that he would not fire anyone involved. The president's comments come at a time when his administration is facing scrutiny over its handling of foreign relations and national security. As he continues to navigate a tumultuous political landscape, including calls from allies to maintain a tough stance against foreign adversaries, Trump has made it clear that he intends to pursue his agenda with little regard for backlash. Looking ahead, the implications of Trump's tariff policies and his bold claims about Greenland are expected to reverberate through both domestic and international spheres. As the world watches closely, the outcomes of these decisions will likely shape the economic and political landscape as the 2024 election approaches, with Trump's recent statements hinting at a potential bid for a third term. The intersection of policy and political maneuvering will remain a critical area of focus in the unfolding narrative of his presidency. In an age where online expression is increasingly scrutinized, recent actions by the Trump administration are raising serious concerns about the potential chilling effect on speech, particularly among immigrants. A report from Vanderbilt University highlights how legal residents in the U.S. may feel compelled to self-censor their opinions due to fears of deportation tied to their political activities. The case of Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia University student and green card holder, exemplifies this troubling trend. Khalil was detained by immigration officials who planned to deport him for allegedly supporting Hamas through his protest activities. Notably, he has not been charged with any crime. The justification for his deportation rests solely on the assertion that his speech could have potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences, as articulated by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Despite a judge temporarily halting Khalil's deportation, the very act of his detention sends a chilling message to other legal immigrants who might consider voicing dissenting opinions. Khalil's legal team has pointed out that the administration's actions appear aimed at making an example of him, thereby deterring others from expressing similar views. This chilling effect is underscored by reports that the Trump administration has routinely ignored judicial orders in favor of aggressive deportation policies, intensifying fears among immigrants regarding their ability to freely express their thoughts online. The implications are particularly pronounced in the realm of social media, where government officials have closely monitored online discourse. With an unclear definition of what constitutes pro-Hamas speech, the risk of misinterpretation looms large. President Trump himself has previously accused figures including Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer of being pro-Hamas, suggesting that the threshold for scrutiny could be alarmingly low. This ambiguity regarding acceptable speech could lead to significant self-censorship among immigrants wary of potential repercussions for their online activities. Moreover, the administration's use of social media to publicize deportations fosters an environment of fear. Officials have openly admitted that a significant part of their social media strategy is to promote self-deportation, further amplifying the chilling effect on free expression. Posts celebrating Khalil's detention and threatening future deportations only serve to reinforce the notion that expressing dissenting political views could lead to severe consequences. As the Trump administration continues to pursue its immigration agenda, the chilling effect on speech could extend beyond discussions about Middle Eastern politics. If the government maintains the authority to deem certain speech as harmful to foreign policy, immigrants from diverse backgrounds may find themselves at risk for critiquing U.S. policies on various global issues. The mere possibility of such repercussions may compel many to think twice before engaging in political discourse online. This unsettling landscape raises critical concerns about the future of free speech in America, particularly for legal residents. As the political climate evolves, it remains to be seen how these dynamics will further shape the discourse surrounding immigration and civil liberties. The coming months may shed light on whether the administration will continue its aggressive stance or if legal challenges will pave the way for a more nuanced approach to immigration and speech rights. As advocates for free expression rally against these policies, the implications for democracy and civic engagement could be profound. In a recent interview with NBC News, President Donald Trump made headlines with his dismissive remarks about the potential economic repercussions of his proposed tariffs on foreign automobiles, asserting that he couldn't care less if foreign automakers raised prices. This statement comes amid a flurry of discussions surrounding his administration's economic policies, which have drawn both support and criticism from various quarters. During the 10-minute phone interview which aired on March 30, 2025, Trump also addressed the ongoing controversy surrounding the Signal messaging app, where senior administration officials inadvertently shared sensitive military plans with a journalist. Despite calls from some allies for accountability, the president confirmed that he would not be firing anyone involved in the incident, labeling the media narrative as fake news and a witch hunt. Trump's tariffs, which include a sweeping 25% levy on all foreign-made automobiles, have sparked significant debate. Congratulations if you make your car in the United States. You're going to make a lot of money. If you don't, you're going to have to probably come to the United States, he stated, emphasizing his commitment to boosting American manufacturing. However, his cavalier attitude towards potential price increases on foreign cars raises concerns about consumer sentiment and economic stability. "I hope they raise their prices," he added, suggesting that higher prices might drive consumers to opt for American-made vehicles instead. This strong stance on tariffs aligns with broader polling data indicating that while Trump maintains majority support for his immigration policies, many Americans are increasingly skeptical about his economic strategies. A CBS News poll released around the same time revealed that most respondents believe Trump is overly focused on tariffs, which they fear will lead to higher prices rather than address their financial concerns. The poll illustrated a stark change in sentiment since his election, with just a quarter of Americans now feeling financially better off compared to nearly 40% prior to his presidency. Trump's remarks on tariffs come as he prepares to implement his planned Liberation Day on April 2, which is set to introduce tariffs on a variety of consumer goods. International leaders including Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney have condemned the tariffs as unjustified, warning that they threaten established economic relationships. In light of this, Trump has stated that the tariffs will remain permanent unless significant concessions are made by foreign leaders. In addition to the tariffs, Trump has reignited discussions around his controversial plan to annex Greenland, asserting that he is not taking anything off the table regarding the territory's future. This claim was met with firm rebuttals from Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen, who reiterated that Greenland is sovereign and does not belong to anyone else. As Trump navigates these contentious issues, he also hinted at the possibility of seeking a third term in office, a notion that has sparked criticism and skepticism. "There are methods which you could do it," he stated, though he acknowledged the complexity of amending the Constitution to allow for such a move. This discussion illustrates Trump's ongoing influence over the Republican base and the potential for continued political maneuvering as he looks toward future elections. As the administration grapples with the implications of its tariff policies and the fallout from the Signal app incident, the coming weeks will be crucial in determining how these issues will affect consumer confidence and the political landscape. With a significant segment of the electorate expressing concern over rising prices and economic stability, Trump's focus on tariffs may need recalibration to align with public sentiment if he aims to maintain support for his administration moving forward. The intersection of domestic policy, international relations, and electoral strategy will undoubtedly shape the narrative as the 2024 election cycle approaches. As the economic landscape shifts dramatically, President Donald Trump finds himself at a pivotal juncture, navigating a delicate balance between public sentiment and the realities of governance just months into his second term. The once buoyant U.S. economy now faces uncertainty, prompting a re-evaluation of Trump's policies and their implications for both American and European markets. In the aftermath of Trump's re-election in November 2024, initial optimism surged as the stock market reached unprecedented heights, reflecting a favorable outlook for the U.S. economy. However, the tide appears to have turned, with recent data indicating a downturn in American stocks and a decline in the value of the dollar. Meanwhile, European markets are experiencing a resurgence, fueled in part by the Trump administration's aggressive stance towards trade and military alliances. The administration's approach has fostered a sense of urgency within Europe, particularly regarding defense spending. As Vice President J.D. Vance articulated, the U.S. has signaled a desire for Europe to stand alone, a message that resonates in the wake of ongoing geopolitical tensions, including Russia's actions in Ukraine. In response, European nations are rallying to bolster their military capabilities, a strategic pivot that is beginning to yield economic benefits. Analysts now see potential in sectors like Germany's automotive industry, where discussions are underway to convert idle car factories into defense production sites, highlighting a significant shift in focus that may invigorate the European economy. Despite these developments, Trump's approval ratings on economic issues tell a different story. A recent AP&RC poll reveals that only 40% of Americans approve of Trump's handling of the economy, a figure that marks a decline from his previous term. In contrast, immigration policy remains a relative stronghold for the president, with approximately half of adults expressing approval of his measures in this area. Interestingly, 74% of Republicans believe the country is headed in the right direction under Trump's leadership, reflecting a partisan divide in perceptions of progress. Moreover, a CBS News poll indicates growing dissatisfaction among the public regarding Trump's focus on tariffs. Many Americans feel the administration's tariff strategies could lead to higher prices rather than the promised economic improvements. This sentiment is particularly pronounced among younger demographics, with nearly 79% of adults under 45 expressing pessimism about the economy. Such concerns echo a broader narrative where inflation continues to be a pressing issue, contributing to a mixed perception of Trump's effectiveness in delivering on his campaign promises. As the president grapples with these challenges, it's evident that his administration's recent actions have not gone unnoticed. The European Union's shift towards increased military spending coupled with the ongoing debate about tariffs underscores the complexities of Trump's economic policies. While supporters within his party laud his immigration policies, they remain cautious about the economic trajectory under his leadership, indicating a potential fracture in voter confidence. Looking ahead, the coming weeks will be crucial for Trump as he seeks to address these economic challenges while reinforcing support among his base. The interplay between domestic policies and international relations will likely shape the discourse leading into the next election cycle. As Europe adapts to new realities, the question remains, can Trump pivot effectively to restore confidence in the U.S. economy, or will the legacy of his second term be one of missed opportunities? Only time will tell as the administration navigates these turbulent waters. In a stunning revelation that has raised eyebrows across the political and national security landscapes, U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth inadvertently shared sensitive military plans with a journalist. This incident unfolded when Hegseth mistakenly included Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, in a group chat on Signal, an encrypted messaging platform often used for secure communications. The group was discussing imminent military action against Houthi rebels in Yemen, and the breach has prompted serious questions regarding operational security within the Trump administration. Goldberg detailed the incident in a comprehensive report published on March 24, 2025, where he recounted receiving a connection request from someone he initially believed to be National Security Advisor Michael Waltz. This led to his addition to a chat group titled Houthi PC Small Group, comprising high-ranking officials including Hegseth Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and others. Just 2 hours before the U.S. strike was publicly disclosed, Hegseth shared detailed information on the military operation, including specifics about weaponry targets and attack timing. "I didn't think it could be real," Goldberg remarked, reflecting on his initial skepticism about being included in such a critical discussion. Then the bombs started falling. His report raised alarms about the potential implications of such a breach, particularly as it involved not just planning but operational details that should have remained classified. The National Security Council confirmed the authenticity of the messaging group, with spokesman Brian Hughes stating that they are reviewing how Goldberg was inadvertently added. This appears to be an authentic message chain, Hughes noted, emphasizing the necessity of ensuring that such oversights do not undermine national security. The administration's commitment to transparency, touted as a hallmark of their governance, was starkly contradicted by this incident. While this breach has sparked discussions about the protocols surrounding classified communications, it also casts a shadow over the Trump administration's approach to national security. Hegseth's comments about maintaining 100% OPSEC operational security seem particularly ironic in light of the leak. The juxtaposition of his insistence on security with the actual dissemination of sensitive information raises questions about the efficacy of existing protocols and the training of officials in handling classified information. Adding to the complexity of the situation, the revelation comes on the heels of a broader narrative surrounding trust and diplomatic relations under the Trump administration. As allies grow increasingly wary of U.S. intentions, incidents like this may further erode confidence in American leadership. In a world where trust is paramount, such breaches could have lasting ramifications, altering the dynamics of international relations and security partnerships. Critically, this incident echoes past controversies involving classified information, particularly the scrutiny surrounding former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. The comparison has not gone unnoticed, with Clinton herself commenting on the situation via social media, expressing disbelief at the irony of the current administration's leaks after previously vilifying her for similar actions. As the fallout from this incident continues, it serves as a stark reminder of the delicate balance between transparency and security in government communications. The implications for U.S. foreign policy, especially in regards to military operations and international alliances, remain to be seen. Moving forward, the administration will likely face mounting pressure to tighten protocols and restore confidence in its commitment to safeguarding national security interests. Whether this breach will lead to substantive changes in policy or protocol remains uncertain. But it undeniably highlights the ongoing challenges of maintaining operational security in an increasingly complex geopolitical landscape. In recent weeks, two significant developments have unfolded in the geopolitical landscape that reflect the evolving dynamics between the United States and other global powers, particularly China. As tensions rise and diplomatic approaches shift, the implications of these changes are substantial, affecting both international relations and global governance. The first major event is the decision by the Trump administration to significantly cut funding for U.S.-backed media organizations including Voice of America (VOA) and Radio Free Asia (RFA). This move, which has resulted in mass layoffs and the suspension of operations for these outlets, is seen as a troubling signal in the fight for global discourse. Historically, RFA has been a crucial source of information about human rights violations in China, particularly concerning the Uyghur population in Xinjiang. With funding now curtailed, these outlets lose their ability to counter China's narratives, effectively undermining the U.S.'s capacity to project soft power abroad. Kawashima Shin, a professor at the University of Tokyo, commented on the ramifications of this funding cut, stating that it greatly benefits China in its pursuit of discourse rights. By silencing critical voices, the U.S. may inadvertently be strengthening China's propaganda efforts, particularly in the global south, where Beijing seeks to expand its influence. The Global Times, a Chinese state-run media outlet, celebrated the suspension of U.S. media support, revealing a stark contrast between U.S. and Chinese informational strategies. In parallel, President Trump's foreign policy approach is being scrutinized for its departure from traditional democratic values. Recent reports indicate that Trump has expressed admiration for authoritarian leaders, including Turkey's Recep Tayyip Erdogan, even as protests against Erdogan's government escalate. Analysts noted great emboldening of autocratic leaders around the world, emboldened by Trump's apparent disregard for democratic norms. Rosa Balfour from the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace remarked, "What Trump says reverberates strongly. There are no repercussions for leaders who undermine democratic institutions." This shift in U.S. policy has broader implications for global governance. It signals a retreat from the promotion of democracy and human rights, replaced by transactional relationships devoid of long-term commitments to democratic principles. Former Congresswoman Jane Harman pointed out that while authoritarianism has been on the rise for years, Trump's presidency has altered the landscape by removing any pushback from the U.S. against such trends. As Trump's administration continues to redefine international relationships, the outlook for U.S. allies becomes increasingly precarious. Countries like Japan and South Korea will need to recalibrate their strategies in response to the changing dynamics, potentially increasing their foreign public relations budgets to fill the void left by the diminished U.S. presence in global discourse. Looking forward, the consequences of these developments could lead to a reconfiguration of alliances in the international arena. As authoritarian regimes gain ground, the challenge for democratic nations will be to reaffirm their commitment to governance that values transparency, accountability, and respect for human rights. The future of global order may hinge on how these countries respond to not only the actions of the Trump administration but also the broader geopolitical shifts that are reshaping the world stage.